Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the second of our scientific symposia that we're holding today. This morning, we talked about the Stuart Scott Memorial Cancer Research Fund and about what we're doing with research to overcome some of the inequities and disparities in cancer, and particularly what is affecting people of color. We couldn't find this to be a more appropriate time to have that conversation. And given the fact that we've been doing this research for so long, we have a lot of findings already that we have been able to share. So we'll make some highlights of that available to you online. This afternoon, we're happy to be able to talk about the Robin Roberts Cancer Thrivership Fund. And Robin is on our board of directors. And when we talk to her about the things that are nearest and dearest to her and have been so important in her own cancer journey, it has been what it is to thrive after some of the very difficult things that cancer brings to the table. We're also going to hear from the first recipient of the Robin Roberts Cancer Thrivership Award, Scott Hamilton. So stay tuned for that as well. I'd like to start out, though, first of all, asking your forgiveness. We're new at this, and so please bear with us if we have some technical glitches, but also to thank several of our important funders for what they have done to help us make this research possible. So the V Foundation thanks Bristol Myers Squibb, and we'll be hearing in a moment from Mark Peters at BMS. ESPN, our forever best friend and partner in all that we've done. Robin Roberts and the guests at her annual evening with Robin Roberts and the Scott Hamilton Cares Foundation, all of whom have been a part of raising these funds and making these funds available to researchers who are looking at some of the most pressing issues of cancer thrivership. Now, if we put up the next slide, I'll tell you a little bit about the Robin Roberts Cancer Thrivership Fund. We've just recently begun this fund. I told you about the history and talking to Robin about it. So we began making awards in 2018. And so far, with the help of all of these wonderful partners that I've talked to you about, we have been able to award $5.4 million in grants. We're going to talk to you today a little bit about those grants and talk to some of the grantees. But some of the areas that we look at, because we look into biological bases of and prevention of long-term cancer treatment side effects and other sequelae of cancer and its treatment, are things like premature deaths and second neoplasms or cancers, organ dysfunctions, reduced growth and development, especially, of course, in children, decreased fertility in young adults, impaired cognitive function. So a lot of things that are important to help the millions and millions of thrivers in this country have a better journey after cancer. We have funded across the country. You can see the various states where we have funded grants, and we will be talking a bit about what those grants look like, what they're telling us, what we can learn, and what is left to do. Just one more piece of housekeeping before we go on to the rest of the symposium, and that's if you have any issues, technical issues, with the Zoom webinar, here's the number you can call, 919-443-3588. You'll get a live human who will talk you through the issues that you might be having. All right, let's get on with the program. If you have questions for any of our presenters, you'll see that at the bottom and or the top of your screen, depending on what device you're using, there is a Q&A button. You just can tap that and then type in a question that you have. You can either send that directly or direct it at an individual presenter or a general question that you might have. And we will do those Q&As at the end of the entire session, so please stay tuned.